Well, I got the back sorted out pretty good, and this front end was way too low. So what I've done here is jack it up. I broke loose this bottom ball joint, and I loosened up this strut bar. It's just sitting in there now. I don't know why it's down like that, but I'm going to take that spring out, or try to. And I've got this one here. These are the stock springs. And I'm going to try to put those in. I don't know. We'll see. Right now, I think what's holding the shock, so I'm going to take the top of the shock loose. Maybe that'll let it go down far enough. Well, here's the two springs compared. That's about 2 inches difference. And this one here was a little bit of trouble to get in, that short one. So I'll have to somehow try to get this one up in here. And then if I can even get it in, then I'll have to, I don't know, put a bolt or something through it. And then try to jack it up and compress it. It's going to be fun. I had bought a couple spring compressors when I was first putting this thing together, but they were just too big and chunky. They wouldn't work very good, and they were too long. So anyway, I put them on this spring and where I thought it would fit. Took these out to the vise and bent them into a smaller diameter, and the bolt head is going to go on the bottom. These go up to the top, so I just cut them off so they're not going to interfere. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but it's best bet I got to get that spring compressed enough to get it in. I greased the threads up real good, and the pivot point, and see if this will work. I put them on and carefully tightened them up. I'm still about 1.5 inches longer than this original spring. Looks like only one of the dogs are holding here. Yeah, well, we're down to like 1 inch now. I'm really kind of scared of all this stuff here. It could really easily slip off, and that's a lot of pressure on that spring. Anyway, I'll see if I can get it up in there and at least get a bolt or something through it, pin or something, so in case it explodes it won't fly out and hit me. I have to compress this another 1.5 inches, and that's as much as I'm willing to to screw these clamps down. I found myself a piece of threaded rod. This is about a 1/4 inch thick up here for the shock. But anyway, I can get that rod down through there. And looks like the end of it's down here about 2 or 3 lengths, spirals. And I think I can put a plate in there and a nut. It's I did find a nut. So this will be the bottom. I'll just weld a big nut or something up here on top. I started looking around on my plate. That's not big enough. But I did get this one. And I marked it where I need to cut it. This will be big enough for the spring. Stick through on the outside. I'll have to figure out some way of, making it set crooked. But what I'll do is drill a hole through that, put this rod in it, and this is plenty thick, 1/4 inch at least, and that'll be strong enough to compress that spring. I'm pretty sure this 1/2 inch bolt is a little bigger than 1/2 inch actually. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do is cut me a plate out, drill a hole, put this rod through it, and then put a nut on the back of it. I can drop this down through the spring and then slide the plate into the spring and get a nut on it, and I only have to screw it up a couple inches. I can get a wrench in here, I think. So, hope so anyway. Otherwise, I'll try to put this up through the bottom of the spring through the plate. Put a nut on the top. I know I can get the top. I might have to chew my fender up a little. But anyway, that's the plan. It'll make me a special spring squeezer. Well, this is a lot more work than I bargained for. Can't really see there, maybe. I had to cut this plate in here to fit the spring. It wouldn't just go in flat, of course. And I got that kind of cut out and bent around. And that seems to be pretty good. I've got it screwed about 2 inches, I guess, here. I probably need to take that plate and put it 1 step below. But if I do that, it's going to be interfering with that back clamp. This front clamp right now is keeping it from rocking back, and I've got about an inch or so more to go here. Get that spring up on that perch right there. So I may have to take that whole thing apart, take that plate out, move it down 1 spring. I'm gonna going to take these two compressor clamps off of here and see if, or at least just one, see if I can start kind of prying that spring back. Or maybe I can lower it and put it on that spring right there below the, right above the plate down to the bottom. Maybe I can bend that spring back, squish that bottom up. So anyway, I'm going to take these off. It's that plate is holding the spring, so hopefully I can get some kind of traction there and get that spring bent around. Once I get it on that edge, then I can get a jack under here and start jacking it up. I can bend my fender a little bit so that bolt will come up, and I can keep pulling this thing for, I don't know, 5 or 6 inches, plenty. Anyway, I'm going to take that compressor off there and see what happens. Success. I got about 2 inches out of the top here, 2 inches in the bottom, and you can see the spring now is right about level. Unfortunately, it raises up when you start to jack it. Now I got to figure out a way to pry it back towards the swing arm. This brake is loose, of course. I might be able to put a little porta power in there and jack that back. I'll give that a try, see what happens. That took a lot of fighting. I got a porta power against the bottom of the spring, push it over, and then once I got it over, I put a big clamp on it and bent it to where it started on that edge. And hopefully now when I jack this up, it won't shoot out the back or something. And we'll see. Well, that was kind of a success. I took the 2 bottom spring compressors off, fooled around with this front end, and I got that lower ball joint in the hole and torqued it down. So right now the spring is pressing on the lower control arm. I tried to line the end of it up there with the front. If I could have got it in at all, I would have been happy, and I did. But I've still got my big center compressor in here. I think I'm going to try to put on this torsion bar and straighten the steering out. Get that all bolted in, and then I'll try to take out that compressor there. But looks pretty good. We'll see. Well, there it is, all back together. My strut rod went in real easy. Of course, I plasma cut it out so it'd fit. Got all the bolts back in, the shocks in, it's centered. Looks like it's holding good. So I'm gonna jack this up, put the tire back on it, and we'll see what kind of a... Well, there it is. Don't look much different. Kind of looks raised over here. Yeah, this side's still low. I should have done this side first. Let's just do some checking here. Top of the fender 7. Center of the wheel is 26. Center of the wheel is 28. And we got 8 here. So 2 inches in the fender. 1 inch on the running board. I don't know what the frame would be like. We'll just check it. Look like 10.5. And at about 9. So I'd raised it up about 1.5 inches or so. You can see it's a little raised, and the suspension is good on it. Should be a little softer because there's more spring, but it all looks pretty good in there. So successfully half done. In my little toolkit I made, my little port power started leaking. Anyway, here's my kit. Took some banging on that 3/8 plate to bend it. I'll work on it some more because it kind of wanted to slide off. And my cut up pullers, I got the other one over there, but 1/2 inch, or I don't know what that is, a little bigger than 1/2 inch, next one up, bar, a piece of plate, a couple pullers, and of course I did a lot of trial and error here trying to get it to work. But I think I got it. Yeah, you could see the car's setting up a little better. That's good. I might still put 15s on it just to fill up that hole. One of the main things I was worried about was the oil pan. I got all dented up. Looks like I got about 7 inches or so, 8 inches now. So that's the main thing I wanted to cure. Yeah, another 1.5 inches on this side. By the way, here's the springs, and they're about 2.5 inches longer overall. So tomorrow, put that one in. All right, I'm on the passenger side. I took my little bracket here. I don't know if you can see. There we go, yeah. I welded some tabs on the edge so it would hang on the spring and keep it centered. And I also cleaned up my hole so the bolt would go down in it straight instead of an angle. And I was able to get the new spring up in there. I've got 2 links left there, and I've cranked it up about 1.5 inches or so. I got about 1 inch or so to go, but I didn't have to use my little spring compressors at all. So I got just a lot of turning to do. I've got none of it coming up through the top. I can kind of bend that fender in there and put a socket on the electric ratchet on it. That'll make it a lot quicker. Pull that bolt up, but it's working good, and I don't have anything else, and it's holding the spring straight. So looks like really all I needed was that bolt and plate. But that's what you do. You learn as you make mistakes. Well, I wouldn't call it a mistake, but I fought with that all day yesterday, and it's, once I got this front end loose, it's maybe taking me 20 minutes to get the spring in and the whole thing raised 1.5 inches. The bolt's right in the middle of it. It's pulling straight, so I should have no trouble at all getting this up in here. We'll see what happens about getting the spring over against the lower control arm, but it worked out okay yesterday with the porta power, so I'm sure it'll work today. That all worked just like a charm. Bolt come out pretty easy, but because the way I designed those clips there on the end, they were for a spread spring, so I can't get my plate out. So I'm just going to take a cut-off tool and whack that corner off right there that I welded on, and the plate should pop right out. A little whack with a hammer and flew right out the back. So if I ever go to use this again, I'll have to weld another tab on there. But that's alright. I don't think I will be using it, but I'm going to save it anyway. Well, there it is, all done. The wheels look pretty straight as far as caster and camber. Pointing down a little bit here where the tie rod ends, which is fine. Looks level. I've got a lot of floorboard here, about 8 inches. This side was really low before. Yeah, this about 9 to the top. That's not bad. Center of the wheels 29. Center of the wheels 29. And this is 9 to the top. Back ought to be pretty good. 10 and 11. We've got 13 here. 11 here. So probably my airbags are got a little different air in it. Yeah, I can see the right side's a little higher than the left. But that's airbag change. Looks good. I jumped on it a little. Shocks seem a little better. They should be softer because they got more spring in them, more travel. Guess I'll go drive it and find out what it's like.